So we're looking at modules, right? Python has a lot of inbuilt modules. So we're looking at one of the modules. We have the random module. Some example of the modules we have are the random module, the math module, the platform module, the date time module. These are examples of inbuilt functions, inbuilt modules that Python has, right? So let's start with the first one, the random module. So I'm going to comment this. And this. All right, so the random module. Now, in this slide, I said that you can import a module by importing all of the module, or you can import the module with an alias, or you can import a certain class or function in that module. So let's use the random module. So how the syntax is when you want to work with modules, you first start with importing that module. So I'm going to import, so I'm going to start by importing random, right? This is how you import module. I want to import the math module. I'll say import math. I want to import the platform module. I'll say import platform. Right? I want to import the datetime module. I would say import datetime. So this is how you import. These are inbuilt modules. There are other modules which we can call them libraries or frameworks in Python. That things like TensorFlow that you use for artificial intelligence and machine learning. You can do import TensorFlow. They are not inbuilt modules of libraries. You have to first install them. And by the end of the day, we'll talk about how package management works in Python. But then these are the few inbuilt modules we have in Python. So I'll start with the random module. So what this random module does is it's a class, or it's a block of code that has already been written that helps generate random numbers, right? So it helps us to generate random numbers. And now when it generates these random numbers, you can now use it to do whatever it is you want. But now let's put this module into play or into action, right? So we want to do something like let's simulate a Ludo game, like a dice game, perform some probabilities. So now in this case, we want to randomly look at values between 1 to 6, right? So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to first start with importing the random module. And the next we'll create a variable called dice, or called dice. And then we'll use random dot random integer. And then we're now looking at integer values between 1 to 6, right? And then we need our output. So we're going to print in the console. Let's say something like you wrote you wrote something. Let's say, for example, and then we're going to call that variable dice, right? Now, if I let me just put my CMD. So I want to run my code in my command prompts. So my program is in documents. So it's class 8.py. So I'm going to do Python class 8.py. Okay. Mm, let's see what we have here. Okay, I didn't save it. Sorry. Let me save this. All right. So let me run this code again. So yeah, it says I rolled one. If I run the code again, it generates a random number for me. I rolled two. If I do, it says I rolled one. So it keeps generating random numbers for me. You rolled five. If I do say you rolled three. So that's how this module works. So the random module helps to generate random numbers. Now, how does it work? It has a class called or function called random integers, right? So you have to call the module for it to work with a period sign, and then you call in this function. Now, the argument we are passing here is the 1 and 6. So I'm generating random numbers between 1 and 6. So as the program keeps running, it will be generating different numbers falling between 1 and 6. So that's how the random module works. So basically, in module importation, it's very easy. You just know the module name, import that module name, and use it in your program. So I said there are three ways you can import a module. You can do you can import all of the module, everything that is in that module, or you can import that module with an alias. So we can say import random as ROD, right? So anywhere I see random, I'll replace it with ROD, right? And let's see if this code works. So exactly, it works. So that's the second way to import the module. The last one is to import a particular function. But now that one, you have to know the function you're looking for in that module, right? So you have to be sure the function you're looking for. So that's it about the random module, or basically all about module. So with what I've said, is anybody confused, or do we have any question about the code I displayed? Please ask your questions.
Yeah, good evening. Please, I have a question.
Yes.
Assuming we want to know, like, assuming I don't know so much about this random module now, and I want
Yes.
to know the list of functions that are in the random module. Is it possible?
Yes, there's a documentation, right? So most modules, most libraries, most frameworks, they are written by programmers like us, right? Now, these programmers write these things with documentation. So let's say, for example, okay, let me just open my browser a bit. I'll show you a little thing. So I will go to so let's see random. Random by let's see. Let me look for the docs, but because I know they all have documentation. So if you want to really know more about a module or a library, you have to read the documentation. So if you go to this Python documentation and open here, yeah, and then go to Python documentation, you're going to see random. Now in random, you're going to read all about it. Now we have as random here, right? We also have system random. That's the function called OS. There are other modules that exist. Let's say C is random. So you can go to Python documentation and read it up. Does that answer the question?
Yes, sir, it answers it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let's proceed a bit. So the same thing applies to the math function. It applies to the math function. Now, what the math module rather, what the math module does is it helps us to
Hello,
perform.
can you just allow your screen the way it was from? Let's see everything.
Okay, like this.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So we have the math module here. Just like we did with the random module, you have to import the math module like this. I'll do import math, right? So let's say I want to calculate the area of a cycle. Now, what the math module does is it helps us perform mathematical operations that would have required us to write maybe longer lines of code. So all you just need to do is to call in this module. Somebody has already written these mathematical operations and has saved the file in the Python repository or the Python documentation for you. All you just have to do is to import it. So we want to calculate the area of a cycle. I'm going to now mathematically in calculating the area of a cycle, we need some parameters. We need parameters like radius, and we need pi, which is a 3.142, right? And the formula is pi times pi r squared. That's the area of a cycle, right? Okay, we already know that from a mathematical perspective. But I want to use the math module to calculate the area of a cycle, right? Now the first thing is to get my parameters ready. So I'm going to start with the radius. So I'll get my radius. Let's say my radius is 6, right? Please mute your microphone so that we can hear ourselves. Thank you. So we say the radius is 6, and then we want to get the area. So we get a variable called the area. Now that area is now equals to the radius, right? Okay, sorry. Okay, we can do that. We can say pi r square times. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's say the radius times the radius square r square times pi. R square. This is how you do square. But in this case, I'm going to use this r square times pi. Now remember that pi is not something Python recognizes, right? Pi exists in the math module. Pi is a class in the math module. So in order for us to use, we want to calculate the radius of a cycle. We're now going to do times math dot pi, right? When we do that, we can now look at our result. Sorry, math dot pi, yeah, and then sorry, let me comment this out. Okay, math.py, and then we're going to print our result in our console. We're going to see that let's use formatted strings. The area of the cycle is um is let's do this area, right? That's what we want. So when I save this code, if I run Now it says the area of the circle is 113 points. Hold on, let me try something. Let's do this. Let's do this other way around. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Yeah, exactly. So it gives us the same thing. Sorry. So this is our result. It gives us that the area of our cycle is 113.0973355. Now, if I make this radius 2 and then I run this code again, it calculates it for me and gives me 12.5663. So this is how the math module works. It helps us to calculate. Now, pi normally is a mathematical constant, but Python does not recognize pi as a mathematical constant, right? But we can do this. We know that pi is 22/7. So you can replace pi with 22/7, right? But we want something accurate. So we want an actual mathematical operation. So that's why we are using the math module here. So math.pi helps us know that, oh, pi is a function or a class that exists in the math module that helps us to give us the value 3.142. And then we're multiplying it with our radius, which we've already given as 2 here, we're going to square that radius. That's how we get the area of this. So that's basically how the math module works. Are we clear? Any question or any confusion? Okay, Mr. Henry, I see your hands are up. Your hand is up. Please ask your question. Okay. I don't think there's any question, so let's proceed.
I have a question.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, please, I want to find out. Sorry. What platform are you using I mean, for this particular programming? I want to
Yeah.
know yes, what you're using, the programming,
Okay.
should I say the software you're using for this particular program?
Okay. I'm using
The
uh
Visual Basic, or that's what I want to know. Which platform you're using for this particular
okay, I'm using Sublime Text.
Sublime? Okay.
Yeah, Sublime. It's
Thank
just an editor. So I run my program in the command prompt.
Okay. So can I use Visual Basic for the same, or
Visual
Sublime is
Studio
better for radio for this
Visual Studio
calculation?
Code. You mean Visual Studio Code?
Yes,
Oh
please.
yes, you can. I have demonstrated it in our previous classes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you
Thank you, please.
can. Yeah, you're welcome. All
Please,
right.
I
So
have a
let's.
question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
The for this importing this math module,
Yeah.
we're trying we're the one giving out the radios. Is there a probability where like you're writing a code for a user now? So they will
Mhm.
be the one to input the radius and then the next line gives them the area of the circle.
Sure, definitely. Let's try that. Very possible. Right. All I just have to do is to do integer input, let's say enter your radius. Simple. Like that's all I just need from them, right? So when I do this, I'll just come to my command prompt and then run this code. Sorry. Yeah, so let me zoom out a bit. So I'm going to run this code and then request my radius. So I can decide to use 9 as my radius. And then it gives me my area, 254.469. Are we there? Are we together?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, you're clear now, B? All
I'm
right.
clear.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so that's 8 for the math function. So we'll look at one last module, and then we proceed. So this platform module is in the slide. So if you read the slide, you see there the syntax for it. So I'm going to do the date time module. What the date time module does is it helps to give you real time date and time, right? Real time dates, right? Yeah, so that's what it does. So somebody has already written a code or a program that does that, and then they've kind of saved it as a file for you to import. So I also forgot to mention that this I can also import this math function like this. Sorry, I can also do import math as empty, right? So anywhere I see math, I'll just do empty, right? Okay, so when I save and run, I'll still get the same result, right? So you can do that too. That's another way. You can even save the module with your name if you want. So now let's go to the date time function. So I'm going to comment this line of code, this block of code out. All right, let's continue. So I'm going to import the date time. So the date time module helps us to get real time, to show the current date or the current time as the case may be. So I'll say, let's start with, I want to get maybe today's date, right? I'm going to say import date time. I'm going to say today, right, is equal to, I want to get today's date. I'll now call that module date time dot date dot today, right? And then I'll close it. But this one is even very interesting. I'll explain it very much later. I'll do print. Let's say today's date. Today's date is. Then I'm going to go ahead and say what's today's date? I'm going to say today. Okay, good. So when I save this code, and then sorry, let me open my command prompt. I think I closed it. Okay, so my command prompt is open. So I'm going to mount on my document. All right. So okay, so it gives me that today's date is 10th of July 2025. So that's what the module does. So you might be working on a very rich program, like you're working on a website, like the backend of a website, you're using like Django or Flask, and then you need to get real-time dates, right? It's this module you use. You just import the module and then use it somewhere in your code. Now let me explain this code a bit. We already know the import statement, which is very important, because without this import statement, we're not going to get anything right here. So now I'll start by, we want to get to this date. So we created a variable called today, right? Now, this one is even more interesting. The date time is the module. We've established that. The date here is the class. And then today here is the function. That's how this program is. That's how the date time module works. Inside the date time module, we have a class called date. Inside the class called date, we have a function called today. So that's kind of how it works. So it means that what we've been writing before for the math function, the pi here is a class. The random integer here is a function because it's supposed to take an argument. Usually classes don't take arguments. Functions take arguments. So here we have the module date time, the class date, and then the function today. So that's it about modules. That's generally what modules are all about. And talking about module, this is where the slide for this class actually comes to one. The slide for that I've been sharing, that I've been using.
So,
Yes, good evening. Please ask your question.
yeah. So why did you change under the area the math to empty? Does it just give us the same answer?
Yeah, okay, let me briefly explain that. So I said initially that there are three ways for you to import the module, right? First one, let me type it out so that you see. You import all modules, all the module. That's the first one. Import the module as an alias, and then we import a specific function or class, right? Those are the three ways. So now let me explain what we did there. We imported the math function with an alias, right? We imported it as empty. We could have easily just done import math. So I can do this. If I say import math and then I remove as empty, anyway I'm supposed to use that module, I would put math there instead of empty.
Oh,
Right? But if I do, yeah, but if I do import math as, I can do import math as a LOT. And then if I see math, I will write LOT. It's just arbitrary. It's something I just feel I can remember. It will work. Because you just assign a new name to it. That's just what happens there. So that's it. So that's it about modules. That's generally what modules are all about, right? So I'm going to comment this out. Yeah. Okay, now that being said, we are going to do something
sorry,
interesting.
this hash function, what does it do?
It's a comment. So the hash is for one line, single line comment like this, just for one line, right? Then the three single quotation like this, 1, 2, 3, is for multi-line comment. 1, 2, 3. So anything in between these three codes will be commented, will not be executed. Everything inside here will not be executed. But the hash is just to comment only one line. The moment you hit enter, it becomes ineffective. Do you understand? Are we together? Okay. I wanted to do one last thing, but I think what I'll do, I'll try to recap. It's already 7:48 and we have about 12 minutes left before the next class. So it's almost 8. So I'm going to do a bit of a recap of what we've done from variables and see how much we can cover for today. So while we're at it, please, if you have questions, I am taking questions now. If you have questions, if your hands are up, please unmute your mic and ask your questions. Questions?
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir,
Okay, so if you're using the Sublime text and you need to go to see your Python
Results.
results, what
Yeah.
going through the command prompt. Once
Yeah.
there's a step once you open your command prompt.
Okay, so if I open my command prompts, like I'm greeted with, sorry. Okay, so I'm greeted with this environment like this, right? It's default for everybody. So this is my local drive, my C drive. This is my user, and this is the computer, the PC name, my account name, right? So now, first of all, I should know where I saved my Python file, right? So let's assume I saved my Python file in desktop, right? So I'd have to mount on desktop. That's the first thing I'll do. I'll locate that particular file. So if I saved my Python file in desktop folder, I can do this. If I don't know where desktop, I just do D arrow, hit enter. It should all the directories, all the direct in my sky, my user. Listen. So I'm looking for desktop. So I'll just do the desktop and then I'll mount on desktop. CD desktop, I'll mount on desktop. But in my case for today's project, I saved my file in documents. So now I want to go back to documents. I'll do CD space bar period and hit enter. It will take me one step backwards, right? Then I want to go to documents. I'll do CD documents. Sorry, documents and hit enter. It mounts document for me. Now, in my case, my program is saved as class8.py. Now, in order to run your Python program in your command prompt, you have to initiate the Python interpreter. So I'm going to start with writing Python spacebar, then the file name class 8, and then the file extension .py. That's how it works for me. So if you follow the procedure, it should work for you. Are we good? Are we good?
Yeah, but I can't see that screen. I was trying to look at it before you took it
Oh,
off.
sorry. Are you seeing it now?
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay, so we have just maybe I don't know, 10 minutes. I want to use it to quickly do a recap of what we've done from the beginning so that we're not just learning new things and forgetting the old ones. I'm sorry. So we've started off with Python, right? I don't want to go back to explaining the nitty-gritty, the jargons of Python. I want to start with the Python syntax. So we started off with variable declaration, right? So please let me open my code editor. Good. All right. So I'm going to do this recap. Good. Okay. So we started off with variable declaration, right? And I said that you declare variables by starting off with the variable name, an assignment operator, and the data type you're assigning to that variable name, right? So because I've explained all these things before, I'll just show us a recap by using examples. Now let's create some variables. I'll start with name. Let's say name equal to let's say Fatima, right? And then let's say age. Fatima is 13 years old. Let's say Fatima's height is 2.5, and we want to check, is Fatima a boy or girl? I'll save is girl, okay, equals to true, right? So now let me use this to explain what happens here. So now I want to print all my results, right? So I want to see what I've stored in my variable. So I'm going to start with saying print. I'll print name, right? I'll print age. Sorry. I'll print age. All right. I'll print height. And then I'll finally print is girl, right? Okay, good. So that's what we have. So now when I save this code and then run on my command prompt, I have Fatima 13 2.5 true. Now it's interesting because what I actually printed was not Fatima 13 2.5 true. I actually initiated an argument, name, age, height, and girl. So that's how variables work. You store data in a variable, and then it takes that data and it performs whatever operation you want in place of that particular data. So that's what variables are all about. Now, the next thing we looked at was data types. right? So we looked at data types, right? In data types, we looked at some types of data where we looked at the string, which is the text data, integer, which is a number, whole number data, numeric data rather. We looked at the float, which is the decimal points data. We looked at Boolean, which is the either true or false kind of data, and so many others. We also looked at lists too. But now let's look at some data types. I'm now going to use the variable that I've declared before to explain the concept of data types. So now let's see. I'll print there's a function called type that helps us to show the type of data. Type name, right? I'm going to print type sorry, age, print type height, and then finally print type, sorry, is girl, right? Okay, good. Now when I save this code and then if I run it, it tells me that the first one, Fatima, is a string, 13 is an integer, 2.5 is a float, and true is a boolean. So it shows me the types of data types that I declared in my variable. So that was kind of most of it about data types. Now we furthermore went on and looked at operators, right? Operators. In operators, we look, Python has, just like mathematics, it has a lot of operators. Now it has the arithmetic operators where we have the plus, the minus, the multiplication, sorry, the division, the modulo, which is this, and so on and so forth, the exponent, which is double asterisk, etc. It also has the comparison operators where you're looking at the equivalence, rather double equal to, sorry, equal to rather, which is double assignment operator, not equal to, which is exclamation and assignment operator, greater than or equal to, like this, it's usually like this, less than or equal to, it's etc. We have the logical operators where you have the and, the or, you know, the not, etc. So these are some of the operators we looked at, right? Now, a simple arithmetic operation can go like this. Sorry, let me comment this. So a simple arithmetic operation can go like this, where you have print, and then you pass in two arguments. Say, okay, let's start with declaring variables. Sure. Okay, let's say, sorry, let me comment this side out so it doesn't execute. Okay. So let's start with declaring a variable. I'll say A is equal to 3, B is equal to 2. Some arithmetic operations. I'm going to say print A plus B. Sorry. I'm going to say print A minus B. And then lastly, I'm going to say print A times B. I can do as many operators as I want. Now, when I run this code here, I get 5, 1, and 6. So it performs the first addition, 3 plus 2, 5. It performs the second one, subtraction, 3 minus 2, 1. And it performs the third one, multiplication, 3 times 2, 6. So that's kind of a bit of what we did in operators. Now we looked at the if statement. So because of our time, I will stop at the if statement. Hopefully tomorrow we'll continue. Now in the recap, for the if statement, I said if statements are conditional statements where you want your program to make a decision by passing certain conditions, right? Conditions need to be met. If those conditions are met, then your program would make a decision. So let me use something for example. I said that in Python we have three conditional statements. We have the if statement, we have the else, and then we have the elif. The if statement is executed when a condition is met. The elif is when you have multiple ifs. So by standard, you don't write multiple ifs in your statement. You use elif in place of multiple ifs. And then the else, what the else does is it negates the if and performs counter operation of what the if was supposed to do. So let's say, for example, we create a variable called score, which is equals to 67, right? And then we'll say if score is greater than or equal to 10, no, greater than or equal to 50. Okay, let's do this. Remember to always use colon for if statement, then print that this is higher than, sorry, this is higher than the variable. Sorry, lower. I'm saying higher. This is lower than the variable. Right? Okay. Now I'm not going to say else. Print. This is, sorry. This is higher. Sorry. It's higher than variable. Okay, good. All right, so when I save this code and then I run it, so this is lower than the variable because logically or arithmetically 50 is lower than 67. But if I change 67 to 20, right? If I change 67 to 20, I'm going to see that this is higher than the variable. So that's what our if statement does. It helps our program make decision for us, work autonomously. So that's a bit of half of what we've done so far. So we are going to stop here for today so that those of us going for a data analysis class can go for their classes. Okay. Oh, I just like data analysis class.
The question.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, so like for these types of variables, assuming that you
Yeah.
have like a measurement, for example, let's say 10 meters, and how do you make it how can it come up? For example, let's say 10
For example,
meters,
you have
and string together.
okay, like number and strings together.
Yes, number
Is
and
that what
string
you're
together.
Okay, let me show you something very interesting.
Topic has finished, man.
Okay, you want to do for 10 meters, right? 10 meters, Abi?
Like say,
Okay, good.
let's say 10
Let me
meters.
show you
Yes.
something.
For example, 10 meters.
10 meters. Okay, yeah. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to have to format it. Now, let's see. I have my length to be equal to, I'm not going to write 10 meters, I'm going to write 10, right? And then I'll say unit is equals to meters in string this time around, right? So I'm now going to say print. Now it gets interesting here. I'll now format it. There's something called formatted string called F. Inside of it, I'll say your length is, I'll now call the first value 10, which is length, right? And then I'll call the second one, which is the unit. Then I'm going to save it. Now, when I save it, and run this program, I should get something like this. Are you seeing the result?
Yes, I'm seeing it.
Okay, so you get what I just did there, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So there are different data types. So you declare them separately.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. All right. So that's it for today. If you have further questions, please ask your questions. I'm all ears. No further questions. Okay. So, like I said, this is not all there is to Python programming. There's, in fact, it is just the start. You have to apply it, at some point. Now, that's where it gets more interesting. You're going to have to apply it in machine learning. You're going to have to apply it in data science, data analysis. You're going to have to apply it in web development. You apply it in a lot of, even in for those of us that are hardware engineers, you apply it in embedded systems, so in AI and all that. So it's actually growing. So your class is basically, your training is not supposed to end because there's more for you to do. So that's why we're introducing the kind of a mentorship program after tomorrow. So we'll meet once in a week. For those of us that are in the classroom and in the group chat, we'll maybe, I don't know, talk about which day in the week that will be convenient for us to meet so that we can look at career paths. For those of us that have not decided what we want to do with the Python programming language, where you want to apply it, we'll look at career paths, some applications of it, real world applications. I mean, considering the fact that we did not have enough time to do all this, right? So that's kind of like the new package we are introducing. So stay tuned. Don't run away after tomorrow. Yeah. And then, like I said, your certificates are going to be made available, but it's going to be dependent on your activities, your tasks, your subscription to the YouTube channel, your engagement in the platforms and all that. So it's subject to those criteria. So that's what we're going to use to assess you and issue out your certificates. Once again, you are welcome, and a shout out to Professor Bojidon Umije for pioneering this event and program. It was indeed a great one. So, and one last thing, the Bodilon Umije Foundation is open to partnership, right? So if you feel you have projects you want to execute, the foundation is there to assist you execute this project. So we have our admin you can always contact for that. So thank you and have a wonderful night.
Let me see what's happening.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night also.
All right.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.